Welcome back, everyone. Today we're taking a deep dive into a topic. I know a lot of you are interested in those brain-boosting foods.
Yes. Everyone wants to unlock their brain's full potential.
Exactly. And you all have sent in some fascinating sources on 10 superfoods. We're talking avocados, blueberries, even dark chocolate.
Now, who wouldn't want an excuse to eat more chocolate? But we're going to go beyond just chocolate is good and really look at the science behind why these foods might improve your memory, focus, and all those good things.
Like, did you know blueberries, those tiny little things, might actually be able to slow down brain aging?
That's right. By up to 2.5 years, some studies suggest. And another fun fact, walnuts.
Yeah.
Well, they don't just look like tiny brains.
They do kind of.
They also contain a similar composition of omega-3 fatty acids.
Wow. Okay, I'm intrigued. But before we jump into each food, can we back up a bit?
Sure.
Why does what we eat have such a big impact on our brains anyway?
Well, picture your brain as a high-performance engine.
Okay, powerful.
It needs a ton of energy to run properly, more than any other organ. About 20% of your body's energy goes straight to your brain.
20%? Wow, that's more than I thought.
It is. And that energy comes from glucose, delivered through, you guessed it, your bloodstream. And here's where our superfoods come in. They're full of compounds that support healthy blood flow, protect brain cells, and even help grow new ones.
So it's not just about energy then. It's about giving our brains the actual materials they need to grow and thrive. Okay, let's start with avocados. What makes them a brain superstar aside from the healthy fats?
Well, the monounsaturated fats are great for that blood flow we talked about, but avocados also have tons of folate and vitamin K.
Interesting. I usually think of vitamin K for bone health, not brain health.
It does both. And get this, they work together to actually help prevent blood clots in the brain, a major risk factor for cognitive issues. Plus, they've got lutein. Yeah, it's a powerful antioxidant, and studies have linked it to better processing speed and memory. There was this one study, people with higher lutein levels in their eyes, which shows their overall lutein intake did better on cognitive tests.
So more avocado means I might think faster. Suddenly that avocado toast is looking even better.
It definitely can't hurt. And, avocados are so versatile. Salads, smoothies, even just sliced up with some salt and pepper.
Speaking of antioxidants, what about blueberries? We mentioned they might slow brain aging, but what's their secret?
Blueberries, they're packed with these things called flavonoids, a type of antioxidant. And here's the cool part. These flavonoids can cross the blood-brain barrier, meaning they directly affect your brain cells.
Wow, they have VIP access to the brain.
They do. And what they do is reduce inflammation. Chronic inflammation can really damage brain cells, so these blueberries are calming things down.
Like little peacekeepers for your brain.
That's a great way to put it. They also help brain cells communicate better, which is essential for learning and memory. And of course, they fight oxidative stress, another thing that leads to age-related brain diseases.
Okay, so tiny fruit, big impact. Do we need to eat like buckets of blueberries to get the benefits?
Not at all. Even just a half a cup a day can make a big difference.
That's doable. I can picture that in my yogurt every morning. Okay, let's move on to fatty fish. I know omega-3s are good for us, but how do they specifically help the brain?
Well, fun fact, our brains are actually about 60% fat.
Whoa, really?
Yep, and omega-3s. They're essential parts of brain cell membranes. They help with how flexible those membranes are and how well they communicate.
So they're not just building blocks, they're also keeping the communication flowing.
Exactly. And studies have shown that people who regularly eat foods rich in omega-3s, like salmon, sardines, trout, they tend to have more gray matter in their brains. And that's where all the important stuff happens, processing, memory, decisions.
So more salmon equals better decisions. Yeah. What if I'm not a big fish fan, though? Are there other ways to get those omega-3s?
Absolutely. You can find them in walnuts, flax seeds, chia seeds. And if you're vegan, algae supplements are a good option.
Good to know. All right, let's get to the good stuff. Dark chocolate, we all love it. Is it really a brain food, though?
It can be, but here's the thing. We're not talking about a milk chocolate bar. We're talking dark chocolate, at least 70% cocoa solids.
The darker, the better. Got it. So what's so special about dark chocolate?
Well, remember those flavonoids? They're in here too, good for blood flow and brain health. Plus, there's caffeine, which can help with focus, and a good amount of antioxidants.
So the mood boost and better concentration, not just a myth then?
Nope. Studies show that dark chocolate can actually improve memory, problem-solving skills, and even mood.
Music to my ears. So how much is okay without going overboard?
Like with most things, moderation is key. A small piece a day, about an ounce, is enough to get the benefits.
Sounds reasonable. All right, now what about nuts? I always have a mix at my desk, but I never really thought of them as brain food.
Nuts, especially almonds, walnuts, hazelnuts, they're packed with vitamin E, and that's a powerful antioxidant. Protects your brain cells from aging.
Keeping our brains young and spry.
Exactly. Studies have shown that eating nuts regularly can lead to better memory, lower risk of brain diseases, and even make you mentally sharper.
You mentioned walnuts before. Are they extra good because of the omega-3s?
Partly. But they also have this special mix of antioxidants and anti-inflammatory stuff, which makes them top-notch for brain health.
So the saying is true, a handful of nuts a day keeps the doctor away. Or at least the neurologist.
You could say that. Now what about leafy greens? We all know they're good for us, but what makes them brain food?
Yeah, I'm curious about that.
Well, leafy greens like spinach, kale, collard greens are full of those nutrients we keep talking about. Folate, vitamin K, and lutein. All those things are crucial for blood flow and how well your brain functions.
Right. Seems like those are the all-star team for brain health.
They are. And there's actual research showing their power. One study found that people who ate at least a serving of leafy greens a day, their brains functioned like they were 11 years younger.
Whoa, 11 years younger. Okay, I'm adding spinach to my grocery list right now.
It's a great choice. And leafy greens, you can add them to so many things. Salads, smoothies, soups, even just sauteed with some garlic and olive oil.
Okay, now, oranges. Famous for vitamin C. But what does that have to do with our brains?
Vitamin C, it's not just for your immune system, it's also a powerful antioxidant, protecting your brain cells from damage. And it's involved in producing some key neurotransmitters.
Like what?
Dopamine and serotonin.
Those are usually linked to mood, right? Not so much brain function.
They're involved in both. They regulate your mood, but they also affect things like focus, learning, and just overall how well your brain works. If you're low on vitamin C, it can actually lead to mental decline and memory problems.
So oranges, mood boosters, and brain protectors all in one.
That's a good way to put it. And you don't need a ton. One orange a day is enough to get all the vitamin C your brain needs.
Okay, easy enough. Now let's talk about eggs. What makes them good for the brain?
Eggs are full of choline, which is super important for building brain cell membranes. They also help produce acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter that's all about memory and learning.
So choline is building the actual structure for memories to form.
Exactly. Think of it as the foundation for a strong brain. And besides choline, eggs have those B vitamins, which can help prevent brain shrinkage and improve focus.
I never knew eggs were so brain-friendly. Are there any long-term benefits to eating them regularly?
Studies have actually linked regular egg consumption to a lower risk of dementia later in life, so it's definitely something to consider adding to your diet.
Wow, that's incredible. I'm definitely going to start having eggs more often.
They're so versatile, you can eat them so many different ways. Now, how about a small but mighty food, pumpkin seeds? What makes them brain-boosting superstars?
Yeah, I'm curious about those.
They're packed with zinc, magnesium, and iron. That trio is essential for all sorts of brain functions.
I know iron is for oxygen transport, but what about zinc and magnesium? How do those play into brain health?
Zinc is all about memory and learning. It helps build connections between neurons, the brain cells, and it plays a role in something called synaptic plasticity, which is basically your brain's ability to adapt and learn new things.
So zinc is like the electrician, wiring up the brain for learning and memory.
Great analogy. Now, magnesium is the calming one. It helps regulate those stress hormones, improve sleep, and can even reduce anxiety. And all those things are crucial for your brain to work at its best.
So magnesium is like the brain's relaxation guru, keeping things zen.
I like that. And the combination of zinc and magnesium in pumpkin seeds makes them great for both boosting brain power and managing stress.
That's impressive for such a tiny seed. What kind of impact can we expect from adding them to our diet?
Even a small handful a day can lead to noticeable changes, like better memory, focus, and less stress. Keep some on hand for an afternoon slump or when you need a mental boost.
All right, that's going on my grocery list.
Yeah.
Finally, let's talk about green tea. It's been touted for its health benefits forever, but what makes it a brain booster?
Green tea has this unique combination of L-theanine and caffeine. They work together to enhance your brain function.
That's an interesting mix. L-theanine is known for being relaxing, while caffeine is a stimulant. How does that work?
It might seem counterintuitive, but they create this state of calm alertness. L-theanine helps you relax and de-stress, while caffeine boosts your focus.
So it's like finding that sweet spot between relaxation and focus.
Exactly. And this combination has been shown to improve memory, cognitive function, and even mood. Studies have shown that people who regularly drink green tea perform better on cognitive tasks, feel less stressed, and even report feeling more positive overall.
Sounds like a win-win. How much should we be drinking to get these benefits?
1 to 2 cups a day is a good place to start. Just be mindful of the caffeine, especially if you're sensitive to it. You can always go for decaf green tea if you want the L-theanine benefits without the caffeine.
This has been a fascinating deep dive into the world of brain-boosting foods. It's amazing how many delicious options there are to support our brain health.
It really is. And we've only just scratched the surface. There's so much more to discover about the connection between food and our amazing brains.
It's amazing to think that something as simple as food can potentially have such a big impact on our brain power.
It really is. But with all these options, where do we even start?
Right. It can feel overwhelming. What are some key takeaways, some easy things our listeners can do every day?
I think one of the biggest things is don't think of it as just adding 1 or 2 brain foods to your diet. Think about it more holistically. How can you eat in a way that supports your brain long term?
So making these foods a regular part of our routine, not just a one-time thing.
Exactly. And the good news is, it doesn't have to be complicated. We've talked about so many delicious and accessible foods that can make a real difference.
Right. So let's recap some of those key points for our listeners. What should they be focusing on?
First, those healthy fats. Avocados, fatty fish, nuts, and even dark chocolate in moderation. Those give your brain the building blocks it needs and support healthy blood flow.
Right, and that blood flow is crucial. It's like the highway system delivering oxygen and nutrients to the brain.
That's a great analogy. Next up, antioxidants. Blueberries, leafy greens, oranges, and green tea, they're all packed with antioxidants that protect your brain cells from damage. It's like a shield against the wear and tear of everyday life.
So we're not just fueling our brains, we're also protecting them. What about choline? That stuff we talked about in eggs.
That's a big one. Crucial for memory and learning, and it might even help prevent age-related decline.
Eggs are suddenly looking like a brain superhero.
They really are. And we can't forget those minerals like zinc and magnesium in pumpkin seeds. They play all sorts of roles in brain function, from memory to stress management.
It's incredible how these simple foods can do so much for our brains. And they're all easy to find and add to our daily lives.
They are. You know, it's not just what we eat, but how we eat that matters too. Mindful eating can actually enhance these brain benefits.
Mindful eating. I usually think of that for weight management, but how does it help the brain?
When you eat mindfully, you're slowing down, paying attention to the food, savoring each bite. This reduces stress and actually improves your digestion. Both of those things indirectly benefit your brain.
So it's about being present with our food, really appreciating it.
Right. When you're stressed, your body releases cortisol, and over time, that can be harmful to the brain. Mindful eating helps manage that stress response.
That makes sense. And what about digestion? How does that play into brain health?
Well, good digestion means your body can absorb all those brain-boosting nutrients more effectively.
So mindful eating is a win-win. Less stress, better nutrient absorption. Our brains are happy.
Exactly. And it's not some complicated technique. It's simply about slowing down, paying attention, and really enjoying your food.
It's so easy to rush through meals these days. I'm definitely guilty of that.
We all are. But taking that time to really savor your food not only helps your brain register that you're eating, which can help with hunger cues and prevent overeating.
Right. It's about being more intentional with our food choices. Now, I'm curious, you talk the talk, do you walk the walk? Do you actually eat these brain-boosting foods yourself?
Oh, absolutely. I try to practice what I preach.
And have you noticed any benefits?
Oh, definitely. I feel so much sharper and more focused throughout the day. I used to have those afternoon slumps, but my energy and mental clarity are much better now.
That's awesome. It's great to hear firsthand how these changes can make a difference.
And my stress management has improved too. I used to get overwhelmed so easily, but I feel much calmer and more resilient now.
Stress management is so important. It's great you found something that works for you.
It's been a game changer. And you know, beyond just the brain benefits, my sleep has improved and my overall mood is just better. I wake up more refreshed and I feel more positive throughout the day.
Sounds like a winning formula.
Yeah.
But what advice would you give to our listeners who are feeling a bit overwhelmed and don't know where to start?
Start small. Don't try to change everything overnight. Maybe add some blueberries to your breakfast or swap those chips for some nuts.
Small, sustainable changes, that's the way to go.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to experiment. Not everyone loves kale or sardines. Find the brain-boosting foods that you actually enjoy eating.
Variety is key, right? The more diverse your diet, the wider range of nutrients you're getting.
That's right. And remember, mindful eating is a powerful tool. Take time to enjoy your food, chew thoroughly, and listen to your body's cues. It can make a huge difference for your overall well-being.
It's about taking a holistic approach to nourishing our bodies and our minds.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It's an ongoing journey, and it's about finding what works for you.
Speaking of journeys, this deep dive into brain-boosting foods has taken us through some fascinating territory. We've learned so much about nutrients, flavors, and how it all connects to our brains.
We have, and I hope our listeners are feeling inspired to start their own brain-boosting adventures.
You know, as we wrap up this deep dive into brain-boosting foods, I'm thinking about the bigger picture. It's not just about individual ingredients. It's really about how what we eat affects our entire well-being.
I completely agree. It's pretty remarkable how just changing what you eat can have such a big impact on your energy, your mood, how well your brain works, even your long-term brain health.
It's like a domino effect. We feed our brains the right stuff, and it sets us up for a healthier and happier life overall.
Exactly. And it goes beyond just us as individuals, focusing on brain health benefits everyone around us, our relationships, our communities, even society as a whole.
I can imagine if everyone had access to this information and could actually make those brain healthy choices, it could be really powerful.
Absolutely. Knowledge is key. When people understand how important it is to take care of their brain health, it can really make a difference.
So how do we spread the word? How do we make this information accessible to everyone?
Well, education is a good place to start. We need to educate ourselves and then share what we know with our families, our friends, our communities. Start conversations, share recipes, support organizations that are promoting brain health.
I love that. We can also advocate for policies that make healthy foods more affordable and available to everyone, regardless of their income or where they live.
Absolutely. Everyone deserves access to nutritious food. It's a basic human right. We need to make sure everyone has the opportunity to nourish their brains and their bodies.
We've been talking about the good stuff, the foods that help our brains. But we should probably mention that some things we eat can actually be harmful.
You're right. There are things that can really hurt our brain function. Processed foods, sugary drinks, too much saturated and trans fat, all of those things can cause inflammation and oxidative stress, which damages brain cells and can make it harder to think clearly.
So it's not just about adding the good stuff, it's also about being mindful of what we're cutting back on.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance, a way of eating that supports your whole body and mind.
And remember, it's never too late to make those changes. Our brains are incredibly adaptable. Even small changes in our diet can make a big difference in the long run.
I agree. Every time we eat, it's a chance to nourish our brains and invest in our future well-being.
I love that thought. As we wrap up our deep dive into brain-boosting foods, I want to leave you with one final image. Picture your brain as a garden. What kind of garden do you want? A vibrant, lush garden that's full of life and potential? Or a neglected one that's struggling to grow? The choice is yours. Every meal is a chance to plant those seeds, nourish your brain, and help it flourish.
That's a beautiful analogy. We should all be mindful gardeners of our own minds, giving them the nutrients they need to thrive and reach their full potential.
Thank you so much for joining us on this journey exploring the world of brain-boosting foods. We hope this information empowers you to make healthy choices and prioritize your cognitive health. Until next time, keep those brains fueled and ready to go.